YouTube. So I apologize. There's always something, right? So some technical challenges, but it's all a process. It's all what is needed. So today we just close our beeping noise, and well, today we are on an interesting health habit that you trust into the healing process itself. And that is a non-thinking experience. So, well, the most people were like, what are you saying, Simona? It's like, I'm thinking. Well, this is a little bit different experience than, but let's explain it, so let's look at an example. So you are existing as a human being, and you're breathing, and you are moving, and you are walking and sitting, and well, that's what you do. So there's no thinking required for those things, right? And different, when we use our intellectual thinking in order to plan something that is, set the information. Say you want to go from A to B and you are planning it out. Yeah, we do need, for that process, we need a thinking. So if you want to arrive at the airport at this time in order to catch the flight, you better plan that. But once you planned it, there's no reason to keep going with thinking about. And this is now our, opus operandi, like most people are thinking all day long or most of the day, and don't even know what the break means, what it means not to think, and how that would be actually felt, right? So it is very, very easy to remember, probably as a child, because we didn't live that way. So you may remember at least one of the occasion where you played with your buddies outside, and you just did what came and just experienced, the game. However, today we want to focus on that importance. What is, for our spiritual part, for our higher part, important to learn, or to, to give access to, if you want to say so. Because there is quite a difference between our normal intellect, our normal possibility to sense the world, and that what is beyond that sense. So there is quite a difference. And the good news is that, first of all, we are born with that. So there's nothing that you say, well, maybe you have it, or maybe you have it, but I don't. So it's not the truth. And truth is that we are all born with an innate healing ability, and with that set into all your information already. So all the cells of your body knows about that. So that's pretty cool. And second is, if you don't remember that, then that's also totally cool, because we can train that. I do know, because I have been doing so, because I forgot. So, well, I use my senses as most of the people, and that got me into trouble in life. And you come to a point where I say, well, I'm done with that, right? So I would like to make my life in a way that it is more smooth, and my body feels good, my relationships are great, anything I'm doing, it's easier, or it's say in this way, is more lived. So what I found myself in the process is that my life was plain said not in order. So there was a lot, I mean, mess and a lot of things they, I would say, make the life stressful. So I kept that stressful state that I was in, not knowing that I was already in that state. I kept that alive through my circumstances. So now I can say, from the perspective where I'm now, that this is, I created that. My mom always said, "Man, Simona, I don't know. I mean, you come up with all these things, and is that really necessary?" You know, she wasn't understanding why I am not finding peace, why I wasn't, why I was always into motion, right? So she couldn't understand that. Yeah, me too. And maybe you find yourself in that moment in your life that you realized, I mean, everything is always in motion. It's and you can find rest and peace with that. But the idea of peace is driving you crazy. It's like, no, I mean, like meditation is promising to get you in that restful and peaceful state. But I honestly was not interested on that, not knowing that I was subconsciously not interested on that, but I had not moving towards it. So it's like, it sounded great, yes, and I want that, but when it came into practice, then I found myself very much resisting. And so the way how I could approach that was, and we talked about the last 2 days, about that I started on a physical level. I started on something that still kept me somehow moving, but helped me to slow it down. And so I did anything on the planet that I could, right? So probably as you, if you're interested in this material, so you probably have done the same. So you have researched, and then you got into like the most important part, probably where we know we can make changes because it's up to us to make them. What do you eat? What do you drink? What do you put on your skin? Or what's your environment about? So all these areas have really helped me to open up, to slow it down, and then to come to a point of acceptance that I now could enter into a practice state. And don't get me wrong, meditation was really not the easiest part for me, and it was more like a task. But then I found Sin Yang Qigong. So Sin Yang Qigong is a practice where you are training, where you're training your abilities in a movement, so to speak. So it's more learning kind of a meditation while you're moving, and learn how this, how I say, to go away from a thinking state into an experience state. And not just that, there was so much more going on, but I mean, just simply explained. And Gong is, I mean, Qi is a life force energy. Gong is a skill level that you develop. So this is a practice to develop your life force energy, to gather and maintain and to enliven yourself. That is what I started doing, and that was very helpful for me. So I invite you as well to test it out, so that you are also, I mean, have the ability to accept that if we are in those trained states of stress all the time, due to trauma, due to how your lifestyle has been, maintaining that, due to your personality type, however you want to say it. Fact is, when you are not feeling that you're living your potential, and you're feeling you're actually draining more than you bring and gain to yourself and to society, it's probably time to look at that, right? So I encourage you to pick it up. So Sin Yang Qigong, and on my website, truebetteryou.com, you'll find more information on that. So feel free and pick it up as well. So, but here's what happened then further. So with physical practices, I was more able to even more slow down. I found other physical practice, they are more also used for martial arts, which is another way of learning how to store and use and perfect your life force energy inside. And so I learned a lot from martial artists in that sense, as well as from Sin Yang Qigong. But I mean, what I'm saying is it was important to have a practice that calms. And so now, how is that relating to the practices you may have been doing and the states that are coming up in your emotions, in your thinking state, finding your habits that are preventing you from really slowing down? So that was a process, and nothing I have been doing was for nothing. So I realized it was always depending on my level of resistance that I was holding at this moment. So understanding then this, I thought it might be a good idea to learn more how to accept who I am more and more, because it showed up in all my life areas. And well, I mean, if you are not yourself, if you're not centered and standing and resting in yourself, then you come across maybe for other people as not real or fake, or you camouflage in, so you're not showing up, you're not seeing and getting the opportunities that you could have that would help you to heal from whatever it is. But as I said, I never found a time when I look back. You don't know in the process, but when you look back, I never found a time that wasn't right. So that is really, really important to get into the groove of, well, as things show up in my life, this is who I am, and this is what is right now, and that is perfect. Then with a sense of, oh, that's perfect. No matter how it feels, no matter how I reacted, no matter how things showed up, I realized that this was what it was. And by, as we already said, observing that state, I could become more okay with, hey, that's who you are. You don't have to make something out of it. You don't have to pretend it's different. You just show up like that. And well, prepared or not prepared for life, right? So that's what happens. And I mean, I found myself more and more being okay with being who I am, which was for me a long process. And I found myself to also realize that all the, like making woo about, oh, you need to heal your emotions, and you need to heal your physical body, and you need to heal this, and you need to heal that. I realized that that is keeping everything in place, but I was attracted to it. So all that exists is there for a reason. So I trust myself that I will find what it is that is in this moment around me, what is affecting me, what's bothering me, what makes me emotional. I do trust that are all good pointers. And if you can pick this up as also your training ground, if you want to say so, then you are in daily life activities, and you can, just like, what am I doing here now? Without impeding, without wanting to change this, without any intention of even a change. You just want to become alert to it. And so when you do so, you do have your emotions, you do the things nobody sees from the outside, right? So it's like, okay, Simona has not changed, as an example. You have not changed. People around will not recognize that. That's not the truth, because the information that is inside is already molding you. All what is happening inside of you is in a hidden state. So we can't assume that something from the outside looks the same, is the same as I met maybe an hour ago, right? So it's not the same person. That person is in a constant state of changing and molding and receiving and giving. It's a constant move. There is nothing in the universe that is not changing on a continuous level. That's a law. So you can rely on that law, that nothing stays, nothing you can hold on to. But here's the point, that's all what we try to do. We try to hold on to anything that we can in order to what? So if you can answer that question for yourself, I found for myself, a lot of things I'm doing is to feel safe. So, well, whatever it is for you. So if you want to feel a certain way, so then you are emotionally about your life, but you're not living your life. So if you can step back and accept that this is what it is, whatever it is for you, right? So you step back and say, I'm observing that. And when you observe it, you start to see that this was a thinking process that someone gave to you, that you learned, that you believed in, but it's not life. Life is so simple. You just watch a little bird, if you're like, I go in the park every day, I love it. And every day is something different. So, and there are so many singing birds, and you will miss them if they're not there, right? So, but, they are so beautiful. And when you see them, how small they are, right? And you watch them, and then you see like the little hummingbirds, right? So you see them there. That's so cool. And you bring that realization that they just fly, and then they may sit. I was surprised hummingbirds are sitting, for a while. So I didn't know that. I never saw hummingbirds in Germany, but here in America, it's just a beautiful, beautiful little bird, brings so much, spirit with. So anyway, when I watch that, then you just see they sit for no apparent reason, then they fly, and then they come back. There is no direction, it looks like, for that. But here's the point. Everything in the universe is governed by laws. Nature is governed by laws. The whole universe is governed by laws. And so are we, because we are part of nature. We are part of the whole. We are part of the universe. So as that, we can trust that everything in the universe is in order. And that what looks so messy in your daily life or in your circumstances or maybe in your health inside, who says that is a mess? Is hopefully a good question for you. If you could stay away from thinking about it and follow then, like, just look at it. You're going to a doctor and the doctor let you know by doing some tests and then writing something on paper, and you trust that's what's written on the paper. I mean, I know this might be a big step out, but just look at it. You're trusting and words and make it your truth because you think this is your truth. It's not what's really happening, because anytime and any moment, those tests, they may change. I have seen that for myself. When you are going and do like a natural cleanse, you go in a fasting mode, you can bet that your levels of the blood, the values in the blood, right? When they measure it, that might be crazy because they're all out of balance maybe. But this is not a bad thing, because there's maybe some organs are now allowing themselves to release some chemicals, they are not healthy for us, right? And then the blood has to take care on more for that, or the lymphatic system has to carry out more of it. That is totally normal. So those numbers might be just a momentary thing, but because you're holding on to that, now you have something. Now the mind is now busy with, wow, yeah, I am this. I am now a diabetic. So therefore, this is what I have to do, and you follow that. I mean, my parents, as an example, they do have some of those diabetes and high blood pressure developed over the period of time. Well, and they believe that's true, and they jump on my jacket, so if I'm trying to, hey, maybe you could do something, right? So there's always a thinking process involved that you are calling yourself, I'm a diabetic. Who says? And so, we are labeling everything. When I say Simone, then everyone knows Simone is this, but when they met me the very first time, that's who I was. I'm not more the same. So is anyone else on the planet. No one is the same. Every second in your life, everything changes. And that is a hidden state. So we have mass. So spoken in a physical sense, our physical body has a mass, but there is also at the same time a hidden state that's as a field, as an energetic field that's surrounding the mass, and each individual created thing in the universe has its own field, has its own mass, and to that has its own information. So I'm really, loving to dig more into the theories that can support that we are understanding or realizing that reality, and that reality can change. So it depends on which level you are in. So some people, as we know, are able to also access with our intelligence, with our senses, also the energetic state. That is totally, we know there are people, they can see auras as an example. So they are able to hone in on that. They have trained or kept the ability to also witness that. What it seems to be is not accessible with our normal intelligence is what is called super intelligence. In what I found in the book of the Grandmaster Pan Ming, Following Sin Yang Qigong Science, is that state that is also hidden as an information state, as a pure information state. So that state where the function and the form are actually as one, they are like coming together as like they're imploding together and become even and pure and one. So in the universe, so like everything is like, how you say, coming together to one in this moment when this is accessible. That is the gate for paranormal abilities or for supernatural abilities. And weirdly enough, so I mean, the Master has been writing about this, and we are actually starting because there's a Sin Yang Qigong community. A friend of mine, Kenneth, has been also studying with me together the theories of, it's called the theory of Hun-Fan whole entity. So just that you can see that. So we have been studying that page by page, if you want to say so, or paragraph by paragraph. And it is, amazing. We are now at page 60. So we are not through the whole book. So I can only say from this moment in time where we are at. And that has helped me a lot to understand the concept of how is it possible that we can heal ourselves? How is it possible to fully trust in that process? Because I did not. In the beginning, I had experiences that got me on the path, that I was searching and looking, how am I getting this back? I want to have it consciously applied. I want to apply it when I'm able and wanting to, So I saw myself being able to just help so many people. I went through that phase, right? Of course, most people, when they need it most, they want to help others first. No, you want to help yourself first because you want to understand that, and you're the only one is able to make an experience and get the full information out of it because you are a little universe. So, and because of the theories he's stating, it makes so much more sense. He brings a more introduction from the ancient tradition, and then also from the science perspective. And so I encourage you to join. I'll also be creating now a membership site for practicing and putting the theory together and practicing this together, because in his book on the preface, there was the former minister of Qigong department in Martial Arts Administrative Center, Hao Huaimu, I hope I say that right, that said, which was very impressive to me. He states here, all right, so he says, no matter who the practitioner is, as long as the practitioner realizes the Hun-Fan whole entity, which is, that merged into oneness in the universe or with the universe state in himself or herself. So, and this practitioner will have achieved the fundamental condition to advance into super intelligence state. So I was hooked on that, by the way. So I thought, oh my God. So he was a minister in China, and as you know, they have a very different approach to keep like a healthy state for all of their people in China. accessible. So they are really making sure that people are healthy using practices and instead of medicine. So and the Chinese tradition or the medical part of the Chinese tradition is well known also now in the Western world. So you see they had different ways of approaching. And so this all comes in that practice. So what I'm encouraging you is to trust the process, maybe pick up the theories. What I have been noticing for myself, it took me a while because there wasn't access for the translation. But I mean, if that would be the point I'm entering now and I want to know, then I highly recommend you always need the theories together and being able to practice this. What I have been finding is that they are more comprehensible. So it is more, I can more understand and follow along and practice their Xingning Qigong practice to it and enriching therefore the practice. So the theories are only theories. I mean, anyone, theories are theories, they're thoughts, they are constructs. But when you combine that with your own practice, you will transform them into your own wisdom nuggets. And you come fully, completely transformed out of this process. And it's your process. And you will be the pearl that we are looking for, right? So am I. So I'm okay that I have been living my life in the way before, and that is past. It only helps me to see the sequences and to learn from those sequences what I have been doing and what has been working and what has not been working. And so now bring that into this state of supernatural intelligence training. That is helpful because of what happens is we are realizing that our whole body, how it's shaped and how we feel and how it's thinking, they are so connected. And when you start to practice, it will all start to somehow unravel. You don't know as long as you're in, but you will start to more and more separate from that. And that's the point. You want to trust the process. So what I also wanted to say is that that has been, very impressive about what I read on the theory so far. But I also found physicists, they are now going in this direction and making more attempts to that unified field theory that the Grandmaster has been already stating in 1990s. He already knew there's a unified field, which he's calling the Qi field, and it has been already worked with that. So I'm impressed about Nassim Haramein. He's a Swiss physicist, and his claims are impressive. I think that very well works with the theories of the Grandmaster. So if you're having fun and pick up more information, I found on the Wikipedia some information about him. But what is impressive, that is how he talks about we are all our own universe, and we have all the energy within, and that is a process, so we have the access to abundant energy from the center of, which is going together with all the ancient Chinese tradition. When you look through the material that is available and offered. So that's why I'm also saying for us it's very difficult. The most texts are in Chinese. Most of us can't read Chinese, but as I said, there's a good portion of reference in the book of the Grandmaster here, the theory of Runhuan whole entity. So that may help us as Western people to merge and become one with that and train for that. And then you and me and everyone else will be their own universe and creating and accessing their own energetic state. So whenever you feel and find yourself drained of energy, then you're following the laws of unhealthy lifestyle or of being unhealthy. So you're following some thoughts that are not helping you to get better. So if you are believing in your doctor, fine. I'm not saying you shouldn't, right? There's great people out. They all come with the intention, or the majority of them comes into the studying of medicine with the intention to really help people. So we need to wake them up a little bit, and it's also your responsibility to say, wait a minute, can we do this instead? Can we test this out? So it's also your responsibility to tell them what you want instead, to ignite that they have to look up for you, with you. And then you experiment with that, with them. In other words, because there is nothing written in stone, no medicine really knows 100%. And if they would get, a little bit, most of the scientists are very digging in and saying that's the one. Yeah, it's okay. I do this too. But there comes a point where you need to let go of any theory and you need to go into practice. And it needs to be whatever you learned was right. You needed this. This wasn't information probably your intellect needed in order to just relax. And then let's see how you can trust the process and then practice and practice and practice. Your life becomes your whole practice. It's always what the tradition always said, right? So no matter where you go, even in our religion, you practice your kindness and in daily life activities, right? You practice God for all the Christianity or people they believe in that concept, right? So you just go with that. That's all beautiful and all right. And so I hope that you are able to kick a little bit yourself and questioning if all the concepts we are holding and believing on are really on the healthy side. So, or if you are grabbing on and you think this is working for you, then you need to look at the results. If you're still on medication, you're not healed, that's not healthy. If you would take them off, it comes back and taunts you even further because of all the side effects. So just get a little bit more honest to yourself, only to yourself, do what you can do. And if you can't, there must be a good reason that you can't. And you respect that and you accept that and you trust the whole process. So I'm trusting that whatever's coming across here right now to you will somehow spark an urge within you to look at it and to trust that whatever you can do, you will have access to. All right, so see you then on next week. So trust in the healing process and let go as you can of the thinking process. All right, see you soon. Bye-bye.